Welcome, everyone. We call this meeting to order at 6:30 PM on February 27th, 2025. Can you get a roll call, please?
Paul's graph here.
May's here.
Jesus here.
Brianna Texoni here.
Mask on here. Can I get a motion to move the agenda?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Eric?
There are no changes to the agenda. Thank you.
All right. Any public participation?
Not at this time.
All right. Let's vote. Call the question for the agenda.
Paul's graph, aye.
May's aye.
Jesus, aye.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mask on, aye. Any public participation?
Not at this time. Thank you.
All right. This time we'll adjourn to closed session where we'll speak about conference with labor negotiators, public employee discussion, discipline, dismissal, or release, conference with legal counsel, or student matters. Can I get a motion? Call the question.
Paul's graph, aye.
May's aye.
Jesus, aye.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mask on, aye. We adjourn to closed session at 6:31 PM.
Ready to begin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Foxcroft, would you read the civility statement?
Yes, and I will break it several times tonight. Civility statement. When conducting the district's business, we will strive to communicate clearly and concisely with a respect for the time of others. Listen objectively, carefully considering the opinions of others, understand the counterproductive effects of disruptive, demeaning, and intimidating behaviors, understand and respect district policies and procedures, and maintain a respect for the rich history of the district and the efforts of those who have served in the past.
Thank you, Mr. Foxcroft. I have a report from closed session. The board, by unanimous vote, took action in closed session to approve the staff recommended to expel student 4002234. Do we have any public comments?
We do, but I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, there are two options for youth, but I believe they'll like to speak right before agenda item 11A, OFY charter renewal, correct?
Excellent. Correspondence, proposals, and reports. Add a representative.
There, I didn't have to do it this time. Good evening. Just updates. We're looking forward to sharing with you soon an employee satisfaction survey that ADA took for all of the ADA members. So hopefully that we'll have the numbers for that soon. We don't have quite everybody yet. We're hoping a few more trickle in so we can give you a good view of how our employees are feeling and maybe some of their needs that aren't being met. We can address those issues. And then our contract negotiations are going on. They've been going well, and we're looking forward to the Good Teaching Conference here in a couple of weeks. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. CSEA representative out tonight. Student representative to the board.
Good evening, everybody. Today I'd like to start with High Desert Middle School. Some Hawk highlights for everybody. Student Alexandra Gonzalez is always being respectful to her classmates and maintaining a smile and a positive attitude. Jordan Herrera is constantly choosing the option that benefits everybody, not just himself. Layla Pardue Ani has been very helpful and a great leader in ASB, including taking initiative to ensure decorating for the dance was done not only by the teacher, but also by students. Miss Marilyn Alford Walsh is exemplifying the Medal of Honor core value of sacrifice. Her dedication and willingness to put the needs of others first as she leads by example is amazing. Her service to the school and community is immeasurable. Mrs. Paula Herrera is working diligently behind the scenes to support our multilingual learners. She truly loves the students and their families and wants them to be successful. Some past events for the Hawks. Engineers Week presentation was on February 21st. Thank you to Bill Schneider, Rayan Harris, Ted Leonard for sharing their love of engineering and inspiring the next generation to pursue engineering career paths. The Impossible Science Fair at CSUN was held on February 25th. 7th grade students participated in the science fair with hands-on projects and touring the CSUN campus as part of the AVID College and Career Focus class. High Desert hosted AVID Professional Development yesterday for all the certified staff in our district. Liz Kenny an avid trainer, provided hands-on practice with supporting students through focused note-taking. High Desert enjoyed having all the teachers together for food, learning, and camaraderie. Camaraderie. Thank you, everybody.
I had to help you. That's terrible.
So embarrassed. Medal of Honor, Medal of Honor Mentor Day. Our 8th grade Hawks have been working hard this year, going into the 5th and 6th grade classrooms to share lessons on Medal of Honor core values. The lesson this month is honoring African American members of the military who have received the Medal of Honor, although they were not able to be rewarded of the medal at the time of their heroic actions. Their service has not been forgotten, and they still continue to be recognized today. Some upcoming events for the Hawks. High Desert is starting its first ever robotics club, led by parent volunteer Mrs. Smith and teacher advisor Mrs. Goodstein. They are working on building a Lego robotics team to one day enter into competitions. High Desert invites everyone to join them for their STEAM night on March 13th at 5:30 p.m. It will be a great night exploring science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. Some athletic updates for HDS. HDS has had 2 teams this year for JV boys basketball and brought home 2nd and 3rd place trophies. This was our first year in the JV league in Santa Clarita, and we are looking forward to seeing the program grow even more next year. Thank you to coaches Lisa and Justin McWilson for their great work with the students. Varsity boys and girls soccer are off to a great start to the season. They are really enjoying being able to play the home games with our new scoreboard, and championships are set for March 17th at Vasquez High School. JV flag football tryouts for the JV flag football team were last week. Excuse me. Sorry. And the team looks forward to starting the season next week. There was such a huge turnout at the tryouts that the Hawks are considering having 2 JV teams this season. JV girls volleyball team has been set, and they will be starting practices next week. Thank you to all the parents for their constant support, and to our HDS coaching staff for their commitment to developing our youth. Some campus updates. HDS Lower Field ribbon cutting is on February 28th at 3:30 p.m. We look forward to seeing everyone at the ribbon cutting tomorrow. It will be a great opportunity to honor all of the people who made this possible for the students. Join them at the ribbon cutting ceremony at 3:30 tomorrow, and stay for the community soccer game right after. Moving on to Vasquez High School. Some highlights of the past 2 weeks. On February 25th, students went on a campus tour to CSULA and to learn about the great campus activities, clubs, GPA requirements to play sports, and their great programs such as nursing, engineering, film, forensics, and aviation. Some past events. On February 19th, the counselors met with seniors to complete their fall AVC application. The VHS counseling team has been going to High Desert for the past couple of weeks to provide students with additional support in academic planning and goal setting for their freshman year of high school. Some athletic updates. Swim season has kicked off this week, and students have been early risers to practice early as 4:30 in the morning. Coach Denise Seymour has done an excellent job recruiting a large team and building excitement for it. Our track and field students are training in the community. Coaches Ivy and Dawn are eager to see multiple athletes qualify for CIF prelims this year. Boys varsity volleyball is currently leading 3-0 in games and continues to win throughout the season. Moving on to Meadowlark Elementary. Earlier today, Meadowlark hosted student performances in honor of celebrating Black History Month. STEM classes are currently learning how to code our B-bots and how to blast mixing chemicals to observe different reactions. In addition, we are preparing for an exciting STEM project and need the community's help. Please donate empty toilet paper rolls and empty paper towel rolls for our students to use in the special activity. Any contributions will be greatly appreciated. And that is all for my report tonight.
Thank you. Superintendent report.
Thank you, Board President. Tonight I'm excited to take you all on a journey through our schools. Each quarter we will shine spotlight on one of them, starting with Meadowlark Elementary, moving on to High Desert, and wrapping up the school year with Vasquez High School. Through these highlights, we'll celebrate the incredible work that's happening at each of our campuses. I'd like to begin this journey by calling up our Meadowlark principal, Mrs. Anitris Jones, for our Meadowlark presentation for this evening. Mrs. Jones.
Good evening to our board president, Mascone, and our board members, as well as Dr. Sahakian and our community members and parents.
Welcome.
I'm Anitris Jones, the principal of Meadowlark Elementary School here in Acton, and I'm going to share some things that we're doing at our school. I'm going to start with, this is my second year at Meadowlark, and we took this past year to update our website for our school, and we've added all of our information so that it's more accessible to parents so that they'll know what we're doing within our school. We've also created a Facebook page and an Instagram page for our families so that they can follow us throughout the day and see what we're doing actually live at school. In addition to that, I want to highlight Little Owl Learning Center, which is a part of Meadowlark School. The programs in which they use there is Frog Street. It's an integrated curriculum, including literacy, math, spell lessons, and STEAM. They also include handwritings without tears and a writing program. Project Lead the Way, Ms. Kenny Dawkins recently completed 17 hours of training in the Project Lead the Way launch program, which taps into students' exploratory nature, engages them in learning that feels like play with hands-on activities that build each other and relates to the real world. In addition to that, they've had many successes at Little Owl Learning Center. They have high achievement scores when they come over to kindergarten. They're well prepared, notable improvements, and innovative teaching practices in which they all make sure they attend professional developments to keep up their teaching practices. I wanted to give a quick outlook of our CASP scores for the 23-24 school year so that you can get a picture of where we're actually going for this school year and what we're aiming for. So our third grade students in CASP for math actually went up. They showed an increase from 22-23 to 23-24 by almost 7%. And in English, they actually went down a little bit, almost 4%, and for 26% in 22-23 to 22% in 23-24. So that was really great news that they actually went up almost 7% in their scores in math. So that was great. And we still have some work to do in our ELA program. Our highlights for fourth grade in CAS testing, they went down a little bit in mathematics, about almost 3%, but they actually went up almost 7% in reading. So that was really great that they went up that much in our reading in ELA, which is English language and literacy. What we're doing at Meadowlark to help improve our test scores, our goals for this school year and on is to familiarize students with the CAS test format and question types, strengthen key skills in ELA and math, align with state standards, develop test-taking strategies to build confidence and stamina, utilize data to guide instruction and intervention. We've put together a plan for the next 7 weeks where we will actually implement strategies, and it also includes professional development where someone from LACO will be coming to our school and working with our staff on implementing strategies that are needed so that our students will understand the CAS test format and be able to answer those questions with ease. So we are working diligently and making sure that we are targeting our students where they are and giving them the interventions that they need to move them, move that needle for our CAS scores. Our timeline that we're going to do for our CAS planning that we're doing for our school, the phase 1 of it is baseline and goal setting. We're doing that for the month of February, where we're using our iReady data to drive our instruction, and our students are working and our teachers are working really hard in aligning our CAS standards along with what we're doing with our iReady reading and math. In March, they're going to do targeted skill building, and they have comprehension checks for writing and understanding how to respond to performance tasks and things of that nature across the board consistently in grades 3 and 4, and as well as our other grades from 1 through 2, we're using the RACE strategy, which will help them to construct responses that are needed for them to pass any assessment that they take, especially in any format of testing that they complete. And we also have writing assessments that are done quarterly to make sure that our students are on target with writing papers that require an opinion, it's a narrative, or an expository paper. We're doing the same in math. We're emphasizing problem solving strategies and multiple steps problems, as well as lending our math curriculum to focus on discourse. So our students are doing a lot of talking within their math, and they're able to explain the operations and the mathematical vocabulary that they need, use the mathematical vocabulary that is needed to understand and develop their math skills. The timeline to continue, we're going to do some practice tests, some other test taking strategies that will be included. And then finally in May, we will actually take the CAS assessment. Our focus on literacy and intervention, we have now expanded our literacy support program. So we have SOAR program, that's reading intervention for our students. We completed our I-Ready assessment in January, and we found that we had a large amount of students that were struggling with phonics and phonemic awareness. So we sat and we actually revamped our curriculum in our SOAR program. And if you come to our school now and you watch our children in the SOAR program, you can see how quickly they're developing those skills that they're needing. So what we're putting in place now, which was taking about a year or two to get kids to show just a tiny amount of growth, is now showing growth within 6 to 8 weeks. The teachers are now coming to us in our SOAR program and telling us that they can see the work that we're doing in SOAR and how it's translating into their classrooms. So I'm very excited about that. Our structure within our school, for our teachers, we developed a reading block where not only are the students divided according to red, green, and yellow. Red meaning you need the most intensive support. Yellow means you need some kind of intervention in place, and green means that you mastered that particular skill. So our SOAR program takes all of our red students that have been identified, and in the classroom, the teachers are implementing a similar format with different materials to meet the needs of those students that fall in the yellow and green category. So that's either targeting the instruction for our yellow students to get them to mastery, and our green students that have mastery, giving them instruction that will push them beyond the level in which they're currently performing. Our new initiative for our STEAM program at Makerspace, I'm really glad that it's something that we started talking about here in the district, because our students are loving Makerspace. Each Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, they have classes scheduled all day. We currently have 15 classes that come weekly. Ms. Coleman also attended a Project Lead the Way workshop to learn how to incorporate technology and other concepts into the curriculum we use in Makerspace. Our focus has been on engineering and design process, creative problem solving, basic coding with Bebops and Scratch Junior, exploring shapes and structures, light, shadow, simple machines, circuits, and electricity, and also using our 3D printer and wood making machine within our Makerspace. I invite each and every one of you to come and see our students in this space, because it is just remarkable. Here I selected some pictures. You see Mrs. Thacker is the teacher, and she's teaching the kids. This is the very first lesson where she was introducing the Bebots, and our kids work with this from kindergarten all the way through 4th grade. So they're just on this particular lesson, they're actually trying to figure out how to make it move forward, to the back, to the right, to the left. And then now they've progressed to where they can give the bot a voice. They can give it voice directions. They can now code it to make several turns. She gave them mathematical problems or equations to solve, and they had to create a pathway to get to the end of that. They built during Valentine's Day that week, they had to construct towers to see how high they could get it. They did chemical reactions using vinegar and some other solutions to see how you could dissolve the Kiss candy, how fast it would dissolve according to what chemical reaction it made with the liquid that they were using. Here's a sample of a video of our kids that were programming the.
Different people are programmed to say different things at different times.
Willy Wonka.
Get ready for the cheers. You can make it? Okay, put your names on it, okay? We got 1 minute, we're gonna
We're
switch.
so excited, and these are the types of activities that you will see if you come into our room. This week, Dr. Sahakian actually came to visit, and he saw the kids where they were trying to balance, to see how you can take a piece of wood, and they had paper, and they were doing it accordion style to see how heavy you could put something on this before it would collapse. And they were getting so creative that they were taking their shoes off. They were stacking their shoes high. You could hear all the discourse with them trying to figure out how to make it stand and not fall over. So they're really having those more in-depth conversations when it's centered around learning. Staff communication, there's a Principal Jones Monday memo that goes out every single Monday to our entire staff. It covers our resources for staff. It has all the forms and documents that are needed, our minutes from any meetings that we're having, and so much more is included in that Monday memo that goes out each month. Our students are engaging in extracurricular activities, Step Up to Tutoring, which is a free math program, and they can get tutoring within their home. We have a student council for our 4th grade. They've worked this year to collect food for different organizations. They also did a drive for the families that were in the fire. So our students collected clothing and whatever they could get from the community, and they actually took it to the fire department so that they could share the items that were collected with people that were in need. We have a choir that comes during their lunch. We have over 60 students that signed up for our garden club that started a few weeks ago, and our garden is starting to look beautiful in the front of our school. So that's something else you can come and take a look at in a few weeks. We have 2 classified staff members that every Wednesday, they decided to introduce sports to our students. They do it on their own time. They've worked with badminton, handball, and different tetherball. They're teaching the kids how to play the older games that they don't normally know the rules of. So, and the kids at recess, you can see them like running to go and play those games because they know the rules and they know how to teach all the other kids how to play them. So in our upcoming, we're getting ready to start a drama club where we have a teacher that's going to work with students. She's volunteering her time and she'll do it after school, and the kids will come and they'll learn, put on a play from that. We also have a 1st grade play that will happen at our school on March 6th and 7th. And if you're free, please come at 9 o'clock in the morning to watch our 1st graders in their play. I do a school-wide communication where every week at Meadowlark, we send out a weekly parent newsletter. And in that newsletter, it covers everything that we're going to do for the week. It has different types of activities that parents can engage with their students if they're struggling in reading, math, or social and emotional needs. All of that is included in that newsletter. Family engagement, the parent communication, as I told you, our weekly newsletter. We also have volunteer opportunities where parents come into our school and they help work with our students. They also help our teachers. And then they do anything that we ask them to do within the office, they'll support us. We have workshops and educational support. We are currently speaking and searching for an organization that is willing to come to our school and partner with us to provide English classes to our Spanish-speaking parents. At the time that I wrote this, which was a few weeks ago, we now have identified an organization, Golden Oak School, that is willing to come to our school and work with our families that want to learn how to speak English. So we're doing some research on how we can, what is needed to get them to come here to provide those services. We continue to have our Hispanic Heritage Festival, our family picnic, parades of tables, book fairs, and assemblies at our school. These are some examples, samples of that, some pictures you see at the top. It was our Hispanic Heritage Month celebration. We had over 350 parents to show up. Our kids had an assembly for BMX bike. That was during Red Ribbon Week. We also have had, that's our family picnic that we had, where we had over 800 families to come through for family picnic. That's our parades of table, where our PTO staff PTO members, not staff, create a beautiful table. They always do really great work, and that's the committee of people that were there to support. And then this is our third and fourth grade assembly. That was our first assembly of the year. It was our award ceremony. And that was our first assembly, the PBIS assembly, where we actually go over our school rules. We do our school-wide expectations where everyone knows what is expected within our school, and our students know how to behave in the cafeteria, in the hallway, on the playground, and in the classroom. We have a social emotional learning SEL initiative where we're working with We Care. So our students that are having difficulty with self-regulation or trauma are getting the support that they need with a social worker. They're able to get one-on-one therapy pretty much with a certified social and emotional social worker. She's a therapist. She's really great with our students. Her name is Emma, and she's new to our school district. I don't know if I should have said her name or not, but she's awesome, and she is really great with our kids. Upcoming events at Meadowlark, March 3rd through 7th, we had Read Across America. We have our talent show in April, kindergarten roundup, April 16th and 17th. We have our VIP breakfast for our families, parent volunteers that we do. We'll have open house May 15th. We'll do the senior walk, which is June 4th. We have a school-wide carnival that we're going to do on June 5th. We invite everyone to come out for that because it's going to be the first carnival that we're having at our school. We plan to have rides, games, all sorts of things. It'll be a great time for all. And we have our fourth grade promotion on June 6th. These are the big items that we're having at our school for the rest of the school year. Future goals at Meadowlark, I kind of won't get all into that, but these are some things that my staff and I have talked about at Meadowlark. Social emotional learning specialists, if we ever can get to that point. I know we've talked about getting some interns and things of that nature, so we are looking at that. And those interns will provide support for our students that fall in a tier 2 category to help them with self-regulation, to give them someone to talk with, to do small groups and help them to understand how to regulate themselves at school. To also provide a sensory or break room within our school so that we can provide a space for students that sometimes have difficulty managing their emotions and calming down. So those are some things that we're really hoping for and wishing for that maybe one day we'll get at Meadowlark. Thank you for listening to my presentation about Meadowlark. I'm really proud of my school, and I love my family and children at that school.
Thank you. Board, comment? Oh, don't leave.
Okay, here we go. You had your shot. We're talking about her presentation.
You don't have any questions, Natalie?
No, thank you for the presentation.
All right, I'll make. That's very cool that you know what's going on in that school, and she can use your report to give her presentation. I think that's wonderful. Okay, up here where I sit, I'm not an educator, that's pretty obvious. I'm looking for safe environments, and I'm looking for, they're just productive for everyone there, so I appreciate that. I'm Ken, just go with that. What's really important to me is that everyone at every campus here understands that EL is a federally mandated program. It's not an elective. I hope everybody hears what I'm saying there. You can't hide on Google. It looks like in your background about the time of Title I where people were being punished with program improvement. Does it sound familiar to you? That you were sent into very focused environments where the scores were dismal and you would bring up scores, unless Google is lying, the same thing you're doing here. I'm so glad you're here. Tell me if you can, or just tell me, don't ask that question. How do you go from being highly motivated as a consultant and knowing what needs to be done and trying to bring that into some new environment where it requires staff buy-in?
you want me to tell my secret here in front of everybody?
Yeah, because I'm going to do it tomorrow and make money if you tell me how.
Can't go in and change anything, right off walking in, because that causes a lot of problems within the school. So my plan here has been, the first year when I walked in, I looked at our scores and I saw where they were and what we were doing as I walked around and saw what was happening in school. So my first thought was, if I can get everyone to start with small groups in rotation, and that they're actually able to manage the classroom and manage how our students are moving in the classroom. I didn't necessarily focus on what was being taught in those rotations, but can you manage it and can you set up those rotations within their classroom? And I also was grateful that we received iReady, because I knew that if my teachers put the students on iReady, that was going to fill in the gaps that they were missing while they were learning how to set up their classroom for what I wanted them to do this year. So that was really all I did last year, was trying to maintain whatever was going on in the school and implementing those two things. And then this year I came in with the mindset of looking at SOAR for the past 3 years and how our kids were moving, how many students were in SOAR, the amount of time they spent in SOAR, the growth that was made in SOAR. And my initiative for this year was to change SOAR. What are we using in SOAR? Because I felt that the materials that we were using weren't beneficial to our students. So I took what they were using in SOAR and I actually gave it to our teachers to use so that they would now have a curriculum that they were using with some fidelity, and all the kids would be getting the same instruction at the same time using those materials. While I worked on changing what I was doing in SOAR, because those students need more intervention. So now that we have the right people in place, people that are motivated and really want to see our students succeed, we're now able to see that growth quicker than you've probably seen in the last 3 years. As I stated in my presentation, now that we've changed the curriculum, you're now seeing growth within 6 to 8 weeks. And it's not taking a year or 2 years to see tiny growth. You're seeing like a lot of growth within that time. And we're progress monitoring weekly. So if there are concepts that are taught that starting on Monday and on Friday, there's a check for mastery. If they don't have it, we're immediately changing what we're doing. And then with the next 2 or 3 days, we go back and we change and then we go back and we check for mastery again. And then we move them on. So it's not giving them the same material and not getting progress. We also looked at teaching our kids comprehension strategies, text taking skills. All of that is now done within SOAR. We use the components of science reading within there. So we're covering the vocabulary, the phonics, the phonemic awareness, the fluency. It's all incorporated and embedded in one lesson. And it's not taught in isolation the way that it was before. So you'll start to see that growth. I also identified strengths and concerns within our teaching staff and assigned someone that could go in and give them individual support. And they can trust this person, they can talk to this person. I'm not a part of that. I don't know what their conversations are about. It's all about the teacher identifying what their strengths and weaknesses are, and the person actually working with them and developing a plan and coaching them to where they need to be. So once everyone gets on board and knowing how to implement those groups within their classroom and what we're doing in SOAR, you'll start to see the results. And then next year I have another step that's going to put the icing on the cake. And we'll just start to see the growth after that.
Cool. So I think ultimately the measure of your success will be displayed when the cohort moves to Ms. Van Ornum's school, and then we'll determine how ready they are to be there. I would suggest that you invite the facilities and finance and educational subcommittees on an educational visit to your school to point out highlights, and the staff. I'm glad you're here using your skill set. I want to give a shout out to the teachers at your school. Two of my kids have gone through the school. Tammy was there for probably 8 years and was the least functional person in the district. Kendra grabbed up a bunch of degrees at UCLA. She's in her second year of law school now. And she's also employed by an entertainment company simultaneously. Besides her having my name, the teachers at Meadowlark were the biggest influence in her life. And I recognize that, and some of them have been here many years. So when we can take that level of experience and commitment to the individual kids in our community, regardless of what their capacity is, low or high, we'll have a winner. And like I said, I like to hear up here when it comes to individual sites. I want to hear that they're safe, and I want to hear that the learning environment is productive, and that's about all I want to hear. Bill?
Thank you, sir. It looks like the kids are having a great time. We appreciate everything you're doing. My grandkids will be starting to go there in the next couple of years, so I'm glad that you're getting everything up and ready for them. So thank you.
Great presentation, and thank you for your hard work and dedication.
My first job in education was at Meadowlark. I was an hour and a half and I just played with kids on the playground and it was a blast. I was 18 and that's all I wanted to do. So Meadowlark has, what was that? I actually grew up here. I don't know if you knew that. So Meadowlark, as I was saying before I was, I was gonna say, Meadowlark has a special place in my heart. I thank you for letting us see parts of what happens at Meadowlark that we don't get to see. So thank you for your presentation and really diving into what is happening at Meadowlark at its core. So thank you for the information.
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. It's good to see everything that's going on there. Really nice to see the makerspace being used as well. I think that's sat empty for longer than it should have, so it's nice to see that's being made good use of. Do you know what programming language they're using? It's probably Python, right,
Probably
Alex?
Python.
Yeah, I would think so too. Yeah, and thank you for going through some of the details of the work you're doing to try to move things forward there. So we certainly look forward to the results on that. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Call the question.
DeJillian, I.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mascot eye.
See all of you. Good evening. My name is Nishay Pattison. I'm the Director of Charter Services for Acton Agua Dulce Unified School District. Tonight we have a public hearing for options for youth. Brian Gillespie is the principal and he will be doing the presentation tonight. Yeah, we have two students.
We're going to go ahead and open a public hearing at 8:14 p.m. February 27th, 25.
Okay, so currently we have a student representative from the school who would like to speak during so each one of them will have the 3 minutes to speak. And then from there, Brian will present and he has approximately 15 minutes to present. Yes, and then from there, the board typically, if they have any questions, they will ask Brian or the members that he has brought from the school. And typically it's equal time that they are given to answer and respond.
Who would like to go first? Jaden Green or, all right. State your name and where you're from.
Jaden Green, I'm from Fontana, and I went to Options for You. Good evening, members of the Acton Agua Dulce School Board. My name is Jaden Green, and I'm proud to stand here today as a recent graduate of Options for You. I want to share my story with you because the school has truly changed my life. Before coming to OFY, school wasn't something I enjoyed. I started at Etowah High School, and while things were great sometimes, like being on honor roll and playing basketball, things eventually went downhill. One day I quit the basketball team after a rough practice. And everything spiraled from there. Stopped going to class, I stopped doing homework, and eventually I was dropped from Etowah. I thought about giving up on high school entirely. Then I found Options for You. I didn't want to be there at first. I felt embarrassed about everything that had happened, but that changed when I met Mr. Sean, one of the most caring teachers I've ever had. He took time to get to know me as a student. He encouraged me every day, and he believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself. Mr. Sean introduced me to the basketball team at OFY, and that's where I found my new beginning. Our coaches, Coach Tom, Coach Gabe, and Coach Jessica, created a team where academics came first. Being on the team gave me a sense of purpose. For the first time, I wanted to be at school, and weekends felt too long. At OFY, I wasn't just a number. The teachers and staff helped me rebuild my confidence and gave me the tools to succeed. With their support, I earned my high school diploma and even won 2 basketball championships. But more importantly, I learned that it's never too late to turn things around. Now I'm heading to American Career College to join their nursing program. I know it's going to be tough, but my time at OFY taught me that anything is possible when you put in the effort. I want to thank the teachers, coaches, and staff who supported me every step of the way. OFY isn't just a school. It's a place where students like me get a second chance. I'm standing here today because of the opportunities and support I found there. To the school board, I hope you see how much OFY means to students like me. It's not just about academics, it's about changing lives. Thank you for giving me the chance to share my story and believing in the mission of Options for You. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Anthony Giordano. I went to Upland Options for You. Good evening, members of the school board. My name is Anthony Giordano, and I'm honored to share a little bit about my journey with you tonight. I first attended Options for You to catch up on some credits so I could go back on track to my regular high school. I thought I'd just be there temporarily, but what I experienced at OFY changed my ways in life I never expected. When I walked through those doors, I wasn't just another student trying to make up lost time. I was treated like someone who mattered. Teachers like David, Amador, they didn't just teach, they believed in me. They went the extra mile to make sure I understood the material, stayed on top of my work, and felt supported, not just in school, but in life. I could tell they genuinely cared about my success even after graduation. Coaches like Tom and Jessica, they also made a huge impact on me. They pushed me to my limits as an athlete, teaching me to be disciplined and resilient, but more importantly, they preached academics first. At OFY, extracurriculars weren't just handed to us. They were rewarded for doing well in school. That mindset helped me stay focused, and when I did well academically, I got to enjoy some amazing experiences, like senior beach trip and prom. Another person who helped me tremendously was Sam, my careerway pathways counselor. With Sam's guidance, I was able to create a solid plan for life after graduation. Thanks for his support. I am now 2 months away from becoming an HVAC technician at UEI College, and I start working for the city of Rancho Cucamonga in 2 weeks. Honestly, I don't know where I'd be without OFY. It gave me structure, motivation, and a sense of purpose. Most importantly, it showed me that education could be personal, supportive, and even enjoyable. I want to thank the board for giving me this time to tell my story and for supporting schools like Option for You. Because of this program, students like me who might otherwise slip through cracks got a second chance. I hope that future students will have the same opportunities to succeed that I did. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Good evening, Dr. Sahakian and board members. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm really excited to talk a little bit about our program. Go to the next slide. And we're going to watch a video and give some highlights of the Option for Youth program. Theoretically.
Options for Youth Acton understands that students seek alternative learning settings for a variety of reasons. From the moment the student walks in the door, they're guided through the entire enrollment process and instantly given access to a multitude of resources available to them as students of a Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act exclusive partnership school. WIOA is an integral part of the success of our OFY Acton students, ensuring they are successful after graduation. OFY Acton has many community partnerships. From day one, our workforce partners manage students to ensure they're accessing all workforce resources and completing all required activities. Being co-located with one of our WIOA partners means that students have the highest level of access to their case manager. Case managers will assist students in getting into workshops, getting job training, learning valuable soft skills, and job placement as soon as they're ready to enter the workforce. Internships, apprenticeships, CTE programs, and on-site job training are just some of the available opportunities. Students are assigned an independent study teacher that remains with them throughout the course of their high school education. The purpose of this teacher is to not only educate, but to mentor, guide, and ensure the students are at the appropriate differentiated level of their assigned courses. By staying with the same teacher throughout the 4 years of high school, they're guaranteed to build a lasting relationship with an important member of their educational team. The assigned curriculum is available in a variety of modalities. The students have the choice between small group instruction classes, online classes, independent study work, hybrid classes, and even cohorts. Taking a closer look at small group instruction classes, you'll see the class size remains below 15 students. All of the classrooms are outfitted with state-of-the-art technological resources. Because of the small class sizes, teachers are able to differentiate instruction based on the variety of different learning styles. Small group instruction classes also allow for alternative schedules and for students with chronic absenteeism to easily catch up. Inter-network sports promote teamwork and soft skills. Students can play year-round in an inviting and equitable environment. Options for Youth Acton has a robust student leadership program. We understand that students feeling ownership, empowerment, and inclusion in school activity, while at the same time impacting their community, is imperative for supporting the growth of responsible citizens. Options for Youth Acton partners with the Pathways Travel Program, providing students with the opportunity to travel the world while building character, earning an education, and learning independence. Students can take advantage of our robust CTE program, offering courses in information technology, veterinary medicine, technology, construction, and nursing. We believe that all the opportunities and support that Options for Youth Acton provides its students with is what makes us a critical stepping stone for their future success and the perfect alternative for reaching their graduation goals.
So this slide shows that we have our 8 learning centers. Options for Acton is proud to be a Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act exclusive partner. Our commitment is to provide students with a personable educational experience that prepares them for graduation and equips them with the skills and knowledge needed for success in their chosen college and career paths. Ensuring students leave prepared to enter the workforce is our #1 priority. This is our mission statement. As stated in our mission statement, our school's purpose is to provide access and opportunity to all students and empower them to reach their goals and dreams. This is our charter's leadership team. 3 principals that are here tonight: Brock Champion, myself, Brian Gillespie, and Jody Moreno. We have served students for the past 7 years in Acton. Our partnership with the district has been going strong for the past 7 years. We look forward to continuing this collaborative partnership for years to come. Our educational model is designed to offer opportunities for outpromise youth to recover academically and get back on track to earn a high school diploma And this is just a few ways that we do that. As stated before, OFY Acton is an exclusively a WIOA-aligned and workforce-centered school. Every aspect of the school's instruction reflects WIOA elements. For example, the school's exclusive instructional design that details how the school provides students access to all 14 elements. The WIOA exclusive design describes balanced collaboration between the school and its WIOA partners to ensure all students are prepared for college and the workforce, incorporates all WIOA elements and responsibilities into the school's daily practice, serves as a guide to workforce-centric instruction. And this looks at some of the partnerships we have. We have strong relations and consistent communication with our partners, including the co-location with Equus in our Fontana 1 location. The co-location ensures our students have immediate access to the partner. We continue to prioritize collaboration with our partners on their programming and ours to ensure alignment. This is looking at WIOA from the student perspective. The slide captures how all students have access to the WIOA program components and is an example of what a student might experience at our WIOA school. We have dedicated staff that case manage students through our WIOA programming based on their goals, skills, and academic needs and barriers. Students have been successful by working steadily with our partners, starting immediately upon intake and ending 12 months post-graduation. School leadership is constantly monitoring student progress and success through each individualized student plan and accountability measures that have been put into place. This next slide looks at who we serve. We have the privilege of serving at promise and underserved students who may have otherwise given up on their education and their high school diploma. This slide looks at our special ed population, which continues to grow at a rate of about 1% per year on average. We serve a large population of students with disabilities. Our small, intimate learning environment and personal connections with school staff contribute to the success of our students with disabilities. The school's budget covers all costs associated with the services for students with disability. This looks at our English language learners, our bilingual scholars, as we call them. Goals for English language learners align with the state and local priorities. We monitor student progress towards reclassification using the LPAC. We follow our ELD master plan to ensure continuous improvement of students becoming fluent in their use of English. And we'll see some really cool things that were results with our English learners a little bit later. This is our enrollment projection. We're excited about the growth over this charter term, and we expect that it's going to continue. Due to enrollment trends and the pace of families moving to the Inland Empire and High Desert, we definitely anticipate growth in the future. Our accountability profile, this graphic captures how we're held accountable as a charter school in California. Our dashboard, alternative school status, alternative metrics, and state local indicators are essential to chartering. This looks at our dashboard alternative school status. The DAS accountability system is for schools, charter and non-charter alike, that serve at-promise students. AB 1505 provides for modified measures, i.e. alternative metrics, to fairly evaluate the success and progress of alternative schools that serve at-promise students. This slide looks at our eligibility. The slide displays our at-promise student population per DAS eligibility criteria at the time of our 2024 application. We serve a high population of students who are credit deficient. To qualify for alternative accountability status, an unduplicated count of at least 70% of the school's total enrollment must be comprised of high-risk student groups. OFY Acton meets this threshold at 83.3%, required by the state to certify this at-promise student enrollment for this alternative status. A student is considered at-promise if they meet one of the categories approved by the State Board of Education upon first enrollment at the school. Schools must apply for DAS status every 3 years. We applied for DAS status earlier this year and were approved. This approval covers the school's DAS status from 2024 to 2027. Established per Assembly Bill 1505, these alternative metrics are the standards for OFY Acton charter renewal as a DAS school. So we're going to look at some of the alternative metrics, some that we're going to celebrate and some areas that we need to work on. Go to the next one. So our A through G completion. The school is committed to preparing students for college and career, as demonstrated by the rise in the A through G completion rates. Our expectation is that all students start on an A through G planning guide upon enrollment. And we can see the numbers year over year have gone up. We aim for students to show at least one grade level growth in a school year on our reading and math. We continue to implement Freckle, an evidence-based intervention program at the IS Independent Study Desk to drive growth towards grade level reading and math proficiency for our students. Given the high transiency of our students, average grade level growth sometimes fluctuates year over year, but we continue to see growth very close to or above our goal of one grade level per year. Student progression is a measure of the student's engagement with their coursework and measure unit completion. And we're seeing our rates are back to where they were before the pandemic. In our school climate inventory, all areas of the school climate inventory shows positive ratings. One thing we are working on, we're taking steps to improve our social media rating, including implementing yonder pouches. And these are areas that we're seeing growth in, but we need to see more growth. These are areas that we'd like to work on a bit more. Our CT pathways completion, as you can see, it's increasing. The school is increasing CT course offerings based on student interest and job market trends. We're increasing CT pathway completion, dual enrollment for our students. CT pathway completion more than quadrupled from the 2018-19 school year to the 22-23 school year. The number of students completing these programs is still lower than we'd like, and we're looking to improve that number.
Just a heads up, you got about 2.5 minutes remaining.
Okay. With core course completion, there was a slowdown in work completion, but is trending back up on a trajectory to exceed pre-pandemic levels soon due to small group instruction, tutoring, and other academic supports. Across all subgroups, OFY Acton is proud of its increasing its one-year graduation rate. Even when the pandemic hit, the school is able to continue improving in graduating students. The one-year graduation rate is a better measure for our school performance than the 4 to 5 year rate, given that we have a highly mobile student population, a large number of credit deficient students who enroll with OFY Acton. And these next, we're going to compare some similar school data. Please note the green bar represents OFY Acton in the following slides. OFY Acton outperformed other DAS schools statewide across all significant subgroup. For negative distance from standard, a smaller bar is better. So many of the students who come to us are below grade level. We work to close that gap for those students. We skip. Okay. This goes into, we'll just go to the one that you had, the next one. So OFY Acton outperforms DAS schools and the state. It's at 48.7%, making progress on the English language learner progress indicator. And then comparison, overall Acton tends to outperform other DAS schools in college and career readiness. Our school pathways coordinators actively recruit students at the start of each school year to join the cohort. The next looks at our suspension rate. The one thing we're really proud of is you barely see any green bars there because we have very low suspension rates in our school. And this is a comparison looking at other DAS schools, both charter and traditional schools across. And the green are areas that we're outperforming, some areas that we're really proud of. If you look at our LPI, which I talked about, we're outperforming 100% of the other DAS schools, charter and traditional in the state. And we're proud of how we're performing against other schools. One area that we'd like to focus on is our 4 to 5 year grad rate, and that definitely needs to improve, but the other areas we're performing exceptionally well. And with that, I'd like to thank the board and district for their support. We look forward to continuing the partnership with the district in the future. Thank you. Did I get it?
You did.
Just trying to hurry it then.
You had 15 seconds left.
Oh. With my 15 seconds, I would like to say, as I look at the seal behind you, the many paths to learning one standard of excellence is definitely a philosophy we share as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can sit down or
I think you might have some questions. Natalie?
No, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Let's start off with this. When I got on this board, this district was using charters as a funding source. That was all. The hearings were 10 minutes. The LA Times characterized me as a charter killer. I'm not a charter killer. I'm just here to make sure that we signify that you're the right ones. I want you all to know that the questions I'm going to ask, they are going to be just, and their business. I want you to know that I care about you. I care about, is that your mom? Well, if you can sell her that, I'll buy it, okay? So, but in reality, there was a time when this district opened the door to someone who stole $80 million in educational funding. And they sat up there just like this gentleman will, and lied right to my face. So when they were indicted in San Diego courtroom, I went down and saw him and offered him cigarettes on the way to prison. So I'm serious about what I do here. And the reason why is because I cannot have my kids in my town, I can't have them jeopardized. So some of these questions are going to be really tough ones. I want you to know that this gentleman and this gentleman have sat out there, and their presentation, you're going to find out, was geared towards every question I have here, almost in the order I'm going to ask the questions. If someone is willing to show up in our school board meeting and drive out here and waste their time listening to me ramble on and on, you're already tired of it tonight. They've endured it for 4 years. So I want you to know that that doesn't go unnoticed. Staff, is Sherry looking over this? Good. Okay, so you ready?
Yes, I am.
In your organizational structure, is there one organization like an umbrella, or do you have different schools with different boards or?
Different schools with different boards. So Acton has its own school board.
Okay, so is there a board somewhere in this organization that the other boards are subservient to?
No.
Yeah, let me explain that. What happens is it becomes very easy for someone to hold themselves out in the group, and then all of a sudden the boards that are answering for their school, each school is different. You end up, the board just as a puppet to a bigger organization. Here's a good one. Are there any positions in your organization that are duplicative in function and held by one individual that when all the efforts of their hours are calculated, is there any, what I'm really getting at, is there somebody in your organization that's charging to be an administrator at full salary at 6 different sites?
No.
Good. Did you get that? I've seen that. I get paid 6 principal salaries and I'm one person, right? I would say this, but it's almost ridiculous. Describe for us your charter school law exception. I think WIOA is probably it, right?
Yes.
And are any of your sites WIOA? I ask these all of everybody. Are your WIOA agreements intact and current?
Yes, they are.
Have you, he seems not decisive. Have any of your WIOA relationships changed during the current authorization period?
The only thing that's changed is if we had a funding change with the WAOA partner, we've not lost any, we've actually gained partners, and we're always looking to add more partners.
Okay, you're jumping ahead of me because I was just going to ask you who and why, but thanks anyway. How many due process findings have you had during the life of the current authorization?
We have not had any.
Okay, so did you get out of those by having due process settlements before a ruling was?
No. We have not had
Awesome.
any.
Do you have a pre-enrollment screening process or questionnaires that ask questions like, does your grandfather tell you stories in a language other than English?
No, we do not have.
Thank you, that's good. How many audit reports have been late and during your required audit reports? How many have been late during the current authorization period?
None.
Do you have students that attend your school under court order?
We don't have any currently, but if we did, we'd follow the normal enrollment process.
Cool. Are you willing and able, by way of your alternative programming, are you able to serve students from this board that suspend or expel students from this district in accordance with state law?
Yes.
Okay, here's a good one. This is the educational staff. I'm seeing that most of this stuff, you're likely to pull in a lot of transient students.
Yeah.
So I'm here to recover students. This gentleman seems to think he got fooled into finally being able to do his homework by coming to your school to gain credits and then, okay, because that's the end game. Because here's what kills charters. When you're looking at numbers, everybody goes, well, so tell me what your cohort looks like. Is the kid that's in ninth grade likely to be there in 10th grade? And does that affect your scores?
It does. I mean, we do have a transient population. We do look at, and our counselors look to group those students. And then we have cohorts, especially as you get into like 11th grade and then our 12th grade cohorts, as they're looking towards post-secondary. But we do cohort the kids, but some kids leave for good reasons though. They come to us because they want to catch up and they want to go back to a traditional, that's a good reason to leave, but it does affect our scores.
So you would say that the percentage of kids that might be in ninth grade, when you're looking at them in the starting 11th grade, there's likely to be a low percentage number that they're the same. Unlike here where first graders are mostly light, you might lose one or two. Okay.
That's accurate.
So how do you motivate your staff to work with students that they know are transient?
I think it starts with our hiring practices. I mean, when we look for teachers, we look for people who have a heart for this type of kid. You know, that's one of the things, the most important part of our program really is the connection that our staff has with our students. And we look for people that like exemplify that when we interview them.
You're not available for hire at this time, right?
My boss
What?
is here.
This isn't funny. This is serious business, people. What SELPA do you participate in?
The LA Charter SELPA.
Does your district, us being an authorizer, take any SELPA direction from this district?
No,
Do we charge you anything, any SPED related fees?
no,
Do we perform any SPED related service to any part of your organization, either to students through therapy or administrative function?
no,
Do you pay any facility fees to this district?
no.
I'm done.
All right, he asked all the questions. You two gentlemen, thank you for coming. Great stories. Glad you guys found this school to move on. HVAC, that's a good career path for you. That's right. All right. And thank you everybody for showing up. I know it's a long drive.
Thank you for your presentation. And he was right. Ken stole all the questions, so I'm not going to ask any. Thank you too for sharing. Appreciate that. I'm actually from the IE. I was raised in Colton, graduated Colton High in 30 years ago. But so thank you for sharing your story. Appreciate that.
I don't have any questions for you, but thank you guys for coming and sharing your story. I know that there's probably a lot of students that are in your spot thanks to your staff. I work at a high school and I have quite a few kids myself, and you remind me of my boys. So thank you for being here, and thank you for making this trip, and thank you for sharing, and congratulations on where you're going, and just keep going up, because that is fantastic. You guys are carving out an awesome life for yourselves.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing your stories, and thank you for all being here. I do have a couple questions. Tell us about your balance sheet, or tell us about your P&L, your finances.
What do you want to, what?
Are
specific-
you in deficit spending this year? Do you plan to be for the next 2 years?
No.
So everything looks good and healthy?
Yeah.
You have a good reserve?
Yes.
Do you know what it is, percentage wise? Perfect. Facilities, are they all your facilities? Are they all leased facilities, long-term leases?
Long-term leases. We
Nothing
have,
that's,
none are expiring really soon, and we have the option to extend on all of them.
Very good. That's all I had. Ken got everything else.
Thank you.
We close this hearing at 8:46 PM.
I move that we adjourn for 10 minutes.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Falls, you got, go ahead.
Jillian, I.
Falls, you got aye.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, aye.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mascot aye. We'll return at 8:56 PM. We call this meeting back to order at 8:54 PM. And we will pick up with the agenda at number 7D, Superintendent Report. Are you done?
Yes, sir, I am done. Thank you for asking.
All right, nothing for Facilities and Finance Subcommittee report. Item F, Education Subcommittee report.
The Education Subcommittee also does not have a report. Looking forward to our next meeting.
When is that meeting?
It's the third Tuesday of every month at 3:30 PM.
Excellent. Policy and Management Subcommittee report.
I'll take that one. So we had a productive session during our recent Policy and Management Committee meeting, which was today. We discussed our overarching goal of reviewing district policies to ensure they serve the best interests of our students. Mr. Weingart provided valuable insight into how policies are developed and implemented and ensure that they comply with education code and the law, as well as the potential consequences if if a board member exceeds their roles, particularly in relation to the suspension policies. I encourage members of the community to review the recorded video in the meeting for more depth understanding of what transpired. I also encourage you to come to our next meeting, which is scheduled for March 27th. And I look forward to continuing our work to support the students and staff. Mr. Ken, do you have any further?
No, thank you. That was awesome.
Submissions.
There are no submissions this evening. Thank you.
I think for the Policy and Management Subcommittee, I would definitely be interested in understanding some of our budgeting policies. We've done a lot of work on the Finance Subcommittee about making recommendations related to our buildings, how we're going to make improvements, keep the lights on, that sort of thing. So it would be amazing to see some of that policy taken up in the Policy and Management Subcommittee report. You guys want to loop one more time? Good.
I'm good. I'm totally good.
Number 8, consent agenda.
Sorry, I'll move.
I'd like to, anybody want to pull anything?
I think we could make a quick comment from the superintendent about the donation, item E.
Sure, thank you for that. I would like to thank the Spears family for their gracious donation of $9,092.07. We have to make a correction. The dollar amount above on the agenda 9207 needs to be corrected. For the record, $9,092.07. And this is for the Vasquez football team. A 5-man blocking sled was purchased for training, conditioning, and practice. So thank you to the Spears family.
Call the question.
DeJillian, I.
Falls Graph, aye.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, aye.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mascon, aye. And thank you once again to the Spears family. Personal action report. Eric?
I'll move it in.
Get a second?
I'll second.
There are no changes or amendments to the part that has been posted for this evening. Thank you.
Board member comment? Hearing none, call the question.
Falls Graph, aye.
DeJillian, I.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, aye.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mascon, aye. 9B, new job description for health technician.
I'll move.
This is a new job description that was developed between management and CSEA. Thank you, CSEA, for your efforts. It's very similar to a health clerk position that school districts typically have. The technician will provide minor treatments of injuries for students. Mrs. Erdrich, HR, any comments regarding? The job description.
For the job description before, we had someone that was working out of class. So this is actually defining the actual position and work that they're doing. So that's why we came up with the new job description. Thank you.
Comments? Will this person be able to address diabetics? Our diabetic kids? It's the monitoring. Thank you. Call the question.
Jillian, I.
Balls, aye.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, I.
Mascon, aye. 9C, Memorandum of Understanding between the California School Board Employees Association, number 473, and the Acton Agua Dulce Unified School District Health Technician.
I'll move.
The MOU outlines some specifics to the health technician position, such as it's a 10-month position, 5.75 hours per day.
Call the question.
The Jillian, I.
Balls, aye.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, I.
Mascon, aye. Item D, Classified Employee Salary Schedule updated.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Thank you. Having worked with CSCA, there's been an adjustment made to the classified salary schedule, specifically Q, as longevity schedules needed updating. Mr. Nguyen or Mrs. Erdrich, any additional comments to that? Thank you.
So what was updated is originally when the salary schedules were approved in May, for longevity, it had step 1 through 5. Well, step 1 was lower than what you were making before longevity at step 5. So we corrected it, so it's just the last step of each of the longevities, because if not, it'd be actually taking you backwards instead of forward. So that's what's being corrected.
Comments? Will you be making any adjustment to our forecast or our financials as a result of this change?
No, because it doesn't affect it. We've been applying it to the employees correctly. So it's just now the schedule actually matches it accurately.
Thank you. Call the question.
The Jillian, I.
Balls, aye.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, I.
Mascon, aye. Subject E, Information Power School.
Thank you, Mr. Mascon. Tonight we have a presentation by Power School. It is a platform, potential platform for the district in support of human resources functions. Mrs. Erdrich, any comments before we turn it over to the presenter?
I'd just like to introduce the presenters from Power School. We have Rich Vesca, John Pendergrass, and Bree Mickelson, and they're going to do a brief presentation for you.
I just want to make sure everybody can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Hi, my name is Bree Michelson. I'm the director for our talent solution sales team here at Power School, and I appreciate the time that you guys are providing us to give a brief description and overview of the solutions that we would like to work with your district with. So there's 2 solutions that we're going to be talking about today, applicant tracking. And so our applicant tracking provides tools to really improve the hiring process, resulting in a greater chance to connect with quality, effective, diverse, nationwide educators. District hiring teams will spend less time on hiring tasks with streamlined workflows to post jobs, communicate with candidates, and make offers. Jobs posted through our applicant tracking are posted not only to your district branded applicant tracking site, but also to our national jobs school spring job board that has over 2.5 million candidates that are viewing and actively applying for jobs. You'll also be able to post jobs to EdJoint to ensure maximum visibility. Candidates searching for jobs using PowerSchool's platform have one login for any district they're applying for, which really helps that candidate experience. They're able to utilize their profile information to automatically pull into the job applications to easily apply, making the process really easy and efficient. On the administrative side, your staff is going to be able to easily filter through applications using our filters to narrow down to the top candidates to bring in for interviews, automatically send out reference checks, and principals and hiring managers can recommend to hire. Our applicant tracking system is also equipped to help districts with the AB 2534 legislation, ensuring your district stays compliant. Once you're ready to make an offer, the system can go ahead and close out that job system as approval workflow processes, which can notify candidates that had applied but were not selected. It'll send out the job offer notifications as well as the new hire onboarding checklist and sets up their profile in our records solution. Switch over here to employee records. So our employee records system is really a process management system that can process new hire paperwork, processes, and internal communications to ensure new hires are ready and equipped to begin working on day one. Each form in records has its own individual workflow approval process, so only the people that need to review, sign off, or approve are notified, making the process quick, efficient, and secure. Records provides you with the ability to set up any type of process that can include forms to be completed and signed. Some examples including onboarding, offboarding, beginning of the year checklist, FMLA, intents returns, and any other processes the district manages. We also provide checklist completion reports that provides real-time insights into each of those individual processes. Records is a permission-based solution, so documents as well as staff are only accessible to those that need the access. And Records also sends out electronic contracts, which can be set up in advance and scheduled to send out on specific dates and provide completion reports. So I wanted to pause there and see if there were any specific questions around either of those solutions. I know there were a couple that you guys had posted in advance. So we can go through those, or if we want to open the floor, happy to take questions.
I just have one question. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Anybody else have? I figured I'd be the only one.
No questions.
Just one question. Tell us about your data security standards, considering you would be holding all of our employee records and information.
Yep, absolutely. So all of our systems are hosted on our Amazon web-based platform. We're SOC compliant, and we also have, we can send over, if you'd like to see all of our data compliance guidelines, we're happy to send those over to the district as well for your review.
Did you say you're SOC 2 compliant?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Any other specific questions?
No, please continue.
All right. Well, there were 5 questions that the board sent over. We did want to address those individually. I want to thank the board and the general public for their time. In recognition of that time, we'll be brief, but if there is additional information that you want or additional questions, please feel free to ask. So really the first question was, what would the platform replace as far as current HR practices? Really not here to replace practices. We're really here to enhance them and move those practices from manual to an automated basis, right? So that's going to provide a lot of things to the district in terms of value. Most importantly, data security, time savings, and hard and soft dollar cost savings in the long run, which leads into question 2. Would the platform mitigate or lessen any future costs for human resources in the district? Yes, absolutely. In the form of hard costs, things like paper and all the things that go along into storing new hire and existing employee records. We're going to mitigate those costs. When you look at some of the soft dollar costs in terms of time savings, in terms of even the cost of having unfilled classrooms, we know there's a cost associated with that. We're going to be really mitigating those costs in the long and short term. So number 3, would the system mitigate human errors? Absolutely. Once data is verified in the hiring process, moved over into the onboarding process automatically, not having to duplicate that data entry, that's an immediate reduction in the possibility of human error. Going back and having to correct somebody's timesheet or their paycheck for the first time is a very difficult process to walk through. We like to take care of that very much on the front end. So absolutely, we'll be reducing human errors. Number 4 was, would the platform mitigate liability? Absolutely. There are many ways that we can do that. One example that's really come up here recently in the state of California, legislation AB 2534 goes into employment verification with employees in their previous districts that they've worked at. Applicant tracking records is set up to help you do this automatically, right? Providing a paper trail for those processes as well, removing liability from the district for all the things that you guys do. That's just one example. There are many others that we can get into as well. So, and then the last question, really my favorite, with a small employee count, is this platform a viable option? The answer is a resounding and a very simple yes, right? Smaller district, you guys have the same responsibilities to your constituents, whether those are employees or students, teachers, anybody involved with the process, but you don't have the resources of a larger district. So systems like this really allow you to stretch those resources much further than a larger district would have to. So I ran through that quickly. Any additional information you would like, or do you have any additional questions?
Thank you.
Sorry. Can you walk me through what it's like? So this is an addition to EdJoin. So people are applying through PowerSchool, but also through EdJoin?
So correct. When we've partnered with districts in California, what we've done is we've taken your job posting links and embedded those in EdJoin as well as in ours, your district branded job postings as well as SchoolSpring, as Bree mentioned. When those links are accessed, whether it's through them finding them on EdJoin or SchoolSpring or on your website, it will direct them to one place to apply. And that's in our applicant tracking piece.
Okay, so an employee, we apply, we post a job. People from everywhere apply. Can you walk me through from that step what it's like for I honestly don't care what it's like right now for people applying. I care what it's like for our staff. So can you walk me through from the time we post a job all the way through putting that person on our campus, what that's like, and why is your platform going to make it easier for our staff getting that person on our campus working with kids? Walk me through that, please.
Absolutely. So the system actually delineates between internal employee, apply for your position, and people that are not employees, right? So the application process itself is fully customizable to reflect what your processes look like. So for internal positions, if you want that to be a very quick type application, you can design it that way. You can have different application types for different positions as well, right? So if you need a longer application or more in-depth application for teaching positions than you would for classified positions or a bus driver, you absolutely can you have the freedom to do that just as well. So with an existing employee, we would access records and all the information that's already set up in the system to go into that application. You can have that application filled out in a matter of minutes, really. And then whatever your internal process is for interviewing internal candidates, we can mirror that in records and applicant tracking, so that process you can move just as quickly as you need to. And I hope that answered your question. If not, let me know what else you'd like to know.
Yeah, I want to know that gets, so now we're on the interview process, but I want to know all the way through to having them step foot on our campus. So is that, are our employees having to look at applications on EdJoin and then also look at applications on, and I don't think it's PowerSchool, you said something different. So they're not like actually logging into PowerSchool to look at applications. What did you say that they were?
So our applicant tracking solution is where all of those applications are going to come in. So it doesn't matter if they're looking through EdJoin or they're looking at our SchoolSpring job board. We'll have the link that will direct them to apply through our applicant tracking site. So all applications will be housed there. On the administrative side, they'll be able to go and search through. So if they're looking for specific criteria, if there are certain things that they want to see, they'll have at a glance view to be able to go through and really identify which candidates they want to bring in for interviews. You can tag, so there's different color coding system that each individual admin will be able to go in and really tag those candidates. You can invite them into interviews. That can happen through the system as well. So you can set different dates and times. Those will be sent out to the candidates. They'll be able to go in, select those times to come in either for in-person or virtual interviews, however you guys choose to do that. And then once they've interviewed and you're really processing through the process, there's different areas there for reference checks. So those can be sent out automatically through the system, either at the point of application or at some point during the system. You can trigger those to be sent out and collected back. There's different note-taking functionality as well. If you do panel interviews, you can have those forms filled out in the site. If you're hiring managers, if say your principals are the ones that are recommending those hires to HR, they can submit that through the system. HR would get the notification and they would be able to really start that hiring process. So through the hiring process, they will be able to select which checklist that new hire is going to be assigned, that will kick off that onboarding checklist. So, certified, classified, there's different forms and or processes that are associated. You could have different checklists for them. Can go through an approval workflow process. So if it needs to be approved by the board, by the superintendent, HR director, whoever needs to approve those, that can all happen through the system. And the system can also send out those, sorry, it's really late here. What am I trying to say? The job.
Those job notifications or job acceptances.
Yes, the acceptance letter. And then it will automatically start them in their hiring process. So again, on the candidate side, they'll get that onboarding checklist. For the administrative side, they'll have a checklist view to see, what task that employee has completed, and also internally. So they can see, the employee's completed this specific form, but it's still waiting for payroll or it's still waiting for IT to approve. Automatic reminders will go out through the system on a weekly basis. You can also bulk remind. So if we're getting closer to like the beginning of the school year, for example, and you want to start reminding on a day-to-day or a couple times a day, you can send out those reminders through the system. They'll also be able to send out forms and or other processes throughout the course of the year to individual employees or groups of employees. And then from the employee side, they'll also have access to a bank of available forms. So things like if they need to change their direct deposit, or they have a name change, they can go in, access that form, complete it. HR or whoever needs to get notified will receive an email. They'll log into the system and they'll see that form that they need to then take action on. And then we can run reports and we can automate those reports. So if you have reports that need to go to payroll system or another platform, those can be run on an automated basis. Those will get exported on a CSV file onto an SFTP site that can either be automatically exported and or imported into records. Did that address the question?
That absolutely answered my question. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one more question before we cycle. So I think the purpose that this really was for document management for existing employees. And this will address like ongoing document management as well. So simple things like the employee handbook and everybody who signed it. We decide to update that, send it out. This would handle kind of the sending it out, getting the signatures back that they received it, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. So a lot of districts will do that kind of on an annual year-to-year basis as part of maybe a beginning of the year checklist. But yes, if you have, another form that needs to be updated and sent out to all employees to re-sign, that can be sent out through records, and then that will be housed electronically. You can also give employees access to view those files after they've signed, or you may not. So it is permission-based. So you determine what forms and what folders they have access to view.
So all documentation that goes to all employees, all gets handled through this, all the acknowledgements, the signature capture, everything is handled through this?
Yes, absolutely.
It's probably the most valuable part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I have no further questions. Ken?
Yeah, in my capacity at work, I am a hiring manager. The candidates come to me after they go through an initial online questionnaire, and then there is an outside panel, and every attempt is made to limit employee bias. So I don't have somebody, yeah, I didn't like that guy. He looked too much like Ken, whatever. So at the end of the day, I'm very interested in keeping the hiring, recruiting practice free as much as possible as from bias of existing employees or screeners. So here's my question. Is this system good at saying, okay, the funding source says you're ready to onboard somebody and we're going to need them by February. So I can use the system to back out a schedule of people who need to be in the process and they could be prompted along the way to meet deadlines. Does it have that capacity?
What you're referring sounds more like are you referring more to like a position control solution?
No. I'm just saying, if if I want to use your program for recruiting and use the segments of it, your program is only as smart as I am, so we're in trouble. So what I'm saying is, if I want to onboard somebody in February, I can go in and set up a hiring Gantt chart that basically says, on this day, I need to have these signatures for approval of funding of the position. And I can send out internal notices that automatically trigger people. Hey, you need to look at the applications. Hey, you need to do this and this and this.
So you can set up, when you're setting up the job postings, you can set up those dates for when you want the jobs to be posted, either internally and or externally.
So I'm asking yes or no. So your program has the ability to notify if it's told to notify.
Correct.
Okay, here's the big one. I'm really concerned about this. Does your program have the ability to track and verify and document responses? So in other words, we could put a form in there and I could say, the question would be, have you ever been released for improper conduct in the presence of students in any time of your employment? And if I were to ask people to fill out a form to give references that said, do you know of this person outside of any personal reference have ever been involved in any kind of controversy regarding improper conduct with students? Because the California Teachers Credentialing Association doesn't seem to be able to do that for me.
Right. So that leads us
Not only does he look like me, he thinks like me. I like that. But at the end of the day, you have the ability without humans saying, oh, I think that they said to me that they didn't remember that. I'm looking for, do you have the ability to have people get on there and fill out a basic questionnaire? And one part of it is conduct and ethics, and they check the boxes and sign it and close it out without an employee of the district doing that function. So when they hit send, they have virtually given me a legal statement that says, you have not been involved by statement.
Yeah, so that's part of our employment verification.
Cool. Okay, I'm done. Thank you. Thank you.
I think, have you used this program before in a previous district?
I used a program that was similar. It wasn't Power School. It was a similar program.
Okay. I think what I'm looking for is this is our process currently. Right now, we take this yellow piece of paper and we take it to that office. And then when that's done, we walk it to this office. And this is how this program will help. I want it compared directly to what we're doing now. And I know that would be hard for you to do right now, standing here. But that's kind of where, like, I hear what they're saying, and I'm a little bit familiar with what we do, but not really. So I want to know how this is going to, what we're doing now and how this is going to change it.
So the biggest difference is that right now, when we decide to hire an employee, they come in, they do fingerprints. Once those have cleared, they come in to get their paperwork. I pull every sheet of paper that they need to complete and give it to them. They bring it back. And then it's like, you start to do the process to put it into HRS, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, they didn't return this, piece of paper, or they forgot this, or, oh, look, there's a signature missing here. Whereas with their program, it would check mark everything as it is completed. So there's no chance that they forgot to do a part of it. So they would take care of doing all that. And then as I'm checking, it's like, okay, this person has everything completely done. Let's put them into the, they're in the system. We can get them started.
So we're fully automating instead of,
Correct.
we're bringing everything to the 20th century and fully automating the system. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
What happens, so this is an initial buy-in and then yearly, there's a fee, correct?
Yearly, the fee is approximately between $8,800 and $9,200.
So my question is, what happens if we get to the point where we can no longer pay the 8,800? What happens to all of our records?
We can print them. So if we were to get to that position, we would print all the records that are in there and put them into files for each employee.
The school owns all the data out of the system. So if at any point in time you choose to leave, either for another vendor or for another reason, we would help to export all of the information, all the data and all the forms out with your help to get that out so that you would have that moving forward.
All right, thank you for your time on this one. This is the information session only.
Hang on, I'm confused. This is an information item?
Correct.
Alrighty then, okay.
No action.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate your time today.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
And education services, so we're on the SARC report 10A.
Yes, thank you, Board President. This is a first read item for the school
Do
accountability.
we need to move this in?
No, it's not.
First read.
It's a first read. Thank you for checking. The school accountability report cards, this is for the 23-24 school year. These reports are specifically for each of our respective school sites, Meadowlark, High Desert, and Vasquez. It does cover areas such as enrollment numbers for each respective site, class sizes, chronic absenteeism numbers, CASP standardized test scores, school facilities, condition of the school facilities, as well as fiscal data. And this is a first read.
We're going to see any information on it tonight, or just other than here? Or
Just the attachments
Okay, got it.
as posted. Thank you.
comment? Nope. Move on to item 10B. Can I get a motion?
I'll move.
For items 9B through D, school plans are updated annually with information regarding school-wide drills,
10,
procedure.
10B. you mean?
Oh,
10.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's
Sorry.
late. 10B through D, school plans are updated annually. This at the school sites and approved by school site council. This information in terms of updates have to do with the drills, procedures, emergency preparedness teams, and school maps.
Do we need to move these in each individually and vote on them individually, or? Okay. Any comment? Call the question. Item 10B.
DeJillian, I.
Mesa, Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mascon, aye. Item 10C.
I'll move.
We got your explanation on that one.
Yes.
Any comment?
Nope.
Nope. Call the question.
DeJillian, I.
Mesa, Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mascon, aye. Item 10D, second reading adoption, Meadowlark School Safety Plan.
I'll move.
Call the question.
DeJillian, I.
Mesa, Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Item 10E, second reading adoption, AAD USD Comprehensive School Safety. What's it? Oh, Mascon, aye.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Oh,
Call the
DeJoy,
question.
aye.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, aye.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mascot, aye. Thank you. 11, business services. We already got through 11A. So it's time for 11B. We'd open the hearing now. We open this hearing at 9:29 p.m. Eric?
So 11B, we're going to go ahead and patch in Mr. Winkard as well as demographer, Mr. Levitt.
We need to read this.
Yes.
Before they get started, we're going to read into the record. Welcome. This is the Acton Agua Dulce Unified School District, California Voting Rights Act, CVRA, fifth public hearing on composition of maps, February 27th, 2025. Welcome to the Agua Dulce Unified School District's fifth public hearing regarding the drafting of trustee map areas under the California Voting Rights Act, CVRA as it is commonly known. The purpose of today's public hearing is to receive input from the public on the maps of the 5 trustee areas that have been drawn by the demographer and possibly decide which map to adopt. Before I turn over the podium to our legal counsel, Ronald Wankart, to introduce our demographer, Justin Levitt, I'm going to just mention a few major points. The CVRA is a state law which prohibits at-large voting systems that impair the ability of racial or ethnic minorities to elect the candidate of their choice. The CVRA favors district-based election systems in which candidates must reside in a trustee area, and only the voters residing in that trustee area vote for those candidates. To avoid the potential for litigation and the cost of attorney fees, the board has decided to modify the current election system and establish a district-based system for the 2026 election. This means that beginning in 2026, voters in those trustee areas up for election in 2026 will vote for one candidate in their trustee area, and the remaining trustees will hold an election in 2028. The change in the election system will not affect the 2024 election or school attendance boundaries. I'm now going to turn over the podium to legal counsel to introduce our demographer and provide us with additional information, followed by public input. Ron, are you there?
Yes, we're here. We do not have a formal presentation for this hearing. Justin and I are here to just answer any questions you may have. We've got a resolution that we've proposed for approval, and so with that, I'll just open it up to any questions that the board members may have.
Good evening. This is Ken Fallsgraf. I'm finally going to make some comments on this. I was the president as this was being cycled, and I appreciate everyone's patience. I'll say for the record, there was a death very close to me in the family. I missed 2 board meetings. This board did not attempt to delay this or whatever. I'm not going to share personal feelings about what I think about this. I do understand the intent of the law. This will be the first thing I say about it and the last. First, I have a couple of questions. Ron and demographer, did either one of you talk to me individually at any time outside of closed session?
No.
Did I ever ask you any questions in closed session about this in front of my colleagues?
Not that I recall, no.
So I have not influenced this in any way.
No. I don't believe so, no.
And I think you would agree that I haven't looked at it and said, this would cause me to be at a disadvantage or it would give me an advantage. And I never ask you any questions about how the maps were construed, what effect that would have in giving one incumbent an advantage over another.
No, there was never any discussion like that.
Good. So do you ever recall sending someone to verify where I live?
No, I think I believe we just got the addresses from the district. I don't believe we checked.
So I could live in Chicago and you wouldn't know that.
No, I would not personally know that, no.
Right. So there was no verification of where I sleep at night.
No.
Okay. And you are familiar with elections in which they fly people in and parachute them in because they don't tend to line up with whatever the party is on that year. You're from, that was a rhetorical question, but you would say as an attorney that announcing your lean towards whatever the common political parties isn't really applicable to your service as a school board member.
No, it's a nonpartisan office. And so
there we go.
Partisan issues don't usually come up.
Okay, so I live at 34520 Red Rover Mine Road. I have lived there for 20 years. I intend to keep living there. I'm saying this for the public. I am a homeowner. Now, I will ask you this. Based on the intent of what this is all about, I'm only, and I know that there are parameters. There's parameters about certain population variances and all, I get all of that. Regardless of how it might affect me or any of the other incumbents, which map, in your professional opinion as consultants, best meets the intent of the action?
Well, so I will take the start here, and just for the record, we do believe that all 5 of these maps meet the basic legal requirements so that regardless of which one you end up choosing, all 5 of these are legal. That being said, we have previously expressed concerns about map 104. And that one was something that the new law, the Fair Maps Act, asks us to show. We don't believe that it is the best. In addition to that, we had some requests back at our October board meeting about map 102 that eventually became map 105. And I would say map 105 is strictly better than 102. Of the 3 maps then that are remaining, 101, 103, and 105, personally, and this is just a professional, personal opinion. As I said, all 3 maps are viable. I believe map 105 does the best job capturing the board's stated communities of interest and goals as expressed at the previous hearings. But again, I think all 5 of these maps do meet the basic legal requirements.
So to answer my question, your professional recommendation as a consultant that was hired by the district under a legal action is 105.
That's correct, particularly based on the comments made by the board at previous meetings.
Hang on. I made no comments. I want everybody to understand that I made no comments. And I don't engage in trying to figure out where I live versus who else where it lives. My comments are over. Thank you for your work. I understand the sensitivity of it. I don't care how map 105 affects me or anyone else. But thank you for being the first consultant in history that will ever give me a straight answer. Thank you, Ron. I'm done.
Well, I just want to add that one of the comments, all the comments were made in public session. And that had to do with not dividing Vista Ladera, the homeowners association. And so map 105 reflects that.
I have no questions. No questions.
No questions. Thank you.
I have no further questions.
I have no further questions either. Would someone like to make a recommendation to, all right. We close this public hearing at 9:39 PM. Ron and Justin, thank you for your time.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
The next step would be, if the board is so inclined, to make a motion to approve one of the maps and adopt the resolution.
I will make a motion, this is Paul's graph, I will make a motion that we adopt map 105 as selected by the consultant as the map which best meets the intent of the action.
I'll second.
Call for question?
Paul's graph, aye.
Mesa.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mascot, aye.
Okay, well, the next step would be then to adopt the resolution.
So I'll read this into the record. Mhm. Yeah. Resolution 2024-25.12, trustee area map. It is recommended the motion be as follows. I move that we adopt resolution number 2024-25.12 to adopt trustee area map 105 and sequencing the elections to complete the CVRA process with the goal of achieving a transition to trustee area elections for the November 2026 elections. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Call the question.
I will respectfully abstain.
Paul's graph, aye.
Mesa.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mascot, aye. There you go.
Okay, I think that completes the process.
If
The
any
next-
of our
the next-
community members would like to look back on this topic and look up documentation available, everything is under this board item. So anything and everything you'd like to know about it is available for you if you're really bored.
And the next step is the county committee hearing, which will be held in the district boardroom sometime this spring. We'll have to arrange the date and time with the county committee.
Thank you again, Ron. Any other comments before we wrap this up?
Well, thank you all.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
All right, moving on to item 11D. Approval of contract for Christie White and Associates.
I'll move.
Get a second?
I'll second.
Eric?
Thank you. It's our recommendation for the board to respectfully approve the contract with Christie White and Associates, internal auditor, that's required for the school district. With that, Mr. Nguyen, if you could provide some information, a little background. Thank you.
Good evening, board. Chris White has been our auditors for the last several years. This is a normal routine where school districts are required to have an auditor to look at our financials to make sure that they're accurate. And I'm asking the board to approve that. As you can see, it's a 3-year contract, but they'll bill us every single year. And it's a 5% increment for cost of living adjustments, basically.
Comment? Call the question?
Hang on. So this escalation, is this CPI based?
No, this is what.
Okay, so it's not. Okay, that's good. So will you bill? So I think what we have to do is, if this is going to be a 3-year contract, has Christie White expressed an interest that she would do this work for a 3-year contract and possibly even give us a slightly less price for doing a multi-year contract?
I can definitely ask her.
I don't want to hang your work, but unless everything in the district is going to escalate at 5%, I would avoid this.
Okay. All right, let me reach out. to
Should we
Chris
table
Joy.
this? Is that staff's recommendation?
Oh. I would approve to, let's table it then, and then I'll bring it, we can bring it back.
I move that we table this till the next meeting.
A second. Call the question.
DeJillian, I.
Falls Graph, aye.
Mazer. Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mask on aye. Item 11E, approval of estimates, K&K Construction Corporation not to exceed 35,000.
I'll move.
Eric?
Thank you. I know there's been plenty of discussion through our Facilities and Finance Subcommittee, as well as our Education Subcommittee, as far as 3 classroom refurbishments here at the Acton site for the additional floor space that's needed for the expansion of Meadowlark with the growing numbers. So this estimate of 35,000 would look into the refurbishment to expand the early childhood education center here at the Acton site.
Comment?
What is the Facilities and Finance Subcommittee? Do you guys have anything you could help me understand about this or steer my decision?
Basically, at our meetings, we discussed where we could put the younger students, and basically at this facility and redoing some classrooms to bring them up to standard is what we're trying to do to be able to have more classroom facilities.
And with respect to my counterpart, Bill, I think our goal is to free up classroom space. I think we're kicking or punting it to the Education Subcommittee to decide what to do with it. There were some ideas lofted about, but the initial idea is just to free up 3 classrooms.
Supporting additional 3 classrooms onboarding.
That's correct. Any other comment? Call the question.
DeJillian, I.
Falls Graph, aye.
Mazer. Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mask on, aye. Item F, approval of High Desert School mural project.
I'll move.
Comment, Eric?
Microphone will help. So at the last board meeting, Principal Van Ornum, as part of the superintendent report, she did a lovely presentation with visuals of a proposal for murals at High Desert to be funded through the arts grant funding. And so we have that presentation that is attached to the agenda as well for the community to see.
Comment? Hearing none, call the question.
DeJillian, I.
Falls Graph, aye.
Mazer. Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mask on, aye. Item G, CSBA Delegate Assembly Region 22 candidates for 2025.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Eric?
Thank you. It's recommended that our trustees approve the AADUSD's 2025 ballot with the 2 candidates, 2 vacancies and the 2 candidates that are listed in the ballot. 2 candidates for Region 22 are Ms. Moore and Ms. Vega.
Comment? Hearing none, call the question.
DeJillian, I.
Falls Graph, aye.
Mazer. Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mask on, aye. Item 12, Board Policy and Administration Regulation. Subject A, second read and adoption, Board Policy 6174, BP and Administrative Regulation, Education for English Learners.
I'll move.
Thank you. Just to go ahead and put this in perspective, once again, California School Board Association provides districts in California with recommended language for updates to both the board policies, as well as administrative regulations. And tonight we have our second read for the Education for English Learners. Changes included striking out language pertaining to parental exception waivers, type of instruction, and updated language recommendations had to do with LCAP and the advisory committee. Thank you.
Comment? This is all recommended to us by the CSBA.
That's correct.
Call the question.
Bajillion, aye.
Falls Graph, aye.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, aye.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mask on aye. Number 13, board comments. Mr. Faltzgraf.
Good evening. I have asked for a couple videos to be played. Let's start off. Someone sent me this. I think this is good. Everyone should listen to this in their own capacity. It marks that you're going somewhere and you may go there alone. Hit it.
Do you want to be popular or prominent? Because prominence is painful. Like if you're going to lead, you have to have the courage to be disliked. If you're going to be successful, you have to have the courage to be misunderstood. And if you're going to champion change, you have to have the courage to be criticized. Because here's the truth, or at least what I've come to see as the truth. People who have never sacrificed for a dream will tell you how to give up on yours. People who have never built anything will tell you what to build. Unsuccessful people will tell you how to spend your money, and people without a platform will challenge your platform. One of the biggest reasons that people shrink back from leadership, from success, or from change is that they're afraid of standing in the tension of being unliked, unappreciated, unpopular, or uncomfortable. They want growth without resistance, influence without opposition, progress without discomfort. But you cannot stand out and stand still at the same time. You have to make a move. And if you're waiting for everyone to approve, agree, or applaud you before you make a move, you'll stay stuck right where you are. You'll get what everybody else gets because you'll be doing what everybody else does. Look, leadership is lonely, success is grueling, and change is painful. But if you're going to make a difference, you have to be willing to be different.
Next, please. Okay, when we had Tammy's memorial service, there was a gentleman there named Fred. Does anyone that was there remember Fred? He kind of gave us a come to Jesus moment about the significance of the loss of Tammy. Tammy would spend a lot of time at the guitar shop up in Malibu, and I have a couple of guitars there. You can't see most of them. But that instrument she's holding there was made in 1918, and she would sit there and watch us work, and that was hanging on the wall. And one day Fred said, we need to get this fixed up because it was cracked and stuff, and it's very valuable. But Tam would sit there in the chair and look at everything. So he told me, let's get this thing fixed up. And so I did the internal work, he did the finish. And then he said, well, this has got to go to someone very important. So when we were done, he said it was Tammy. And so I took it home and I handed this to her, and she immediately knew who gave it. And this is her sign for Fred's name. So before she left us, I was headed one morning to the guitar shop in Malibu, and I'm driving down the road and I got bib overalls on and I'm headed to Malibu, and I see a sign that says Agua Dulce Women's Club yard sale. And we know that the Acton Women's Club through their boutique and the Agua Dulce Women's Club through their garage sale support this district and its students and scholarships. And they're very meaningful. So I'm like, I'm going to go to a yard sale and I'm going to go meet. So I'm walking through the yard sale, and you have to see this up close to believe it. But I saw something that stopped me in my tracks. I saw this. The doll does not have its finger on its chin. If the doll has its finger on its throat. The reason she calls that she called Fred that is because, well, Fred's going to join us right now. Hit it. This message is for everybody that's a vapor.
My name is Fred, and I have had a serious life-changing laryngectomy as a result of smoking cigarettes. My dad had a big music store. He died when I was 19. I had to pick up the pieces. Everybody had a cigarette. And so, naturally, wow, I want to be like the big guys. My voice just kept getting worse, worse, and worse. One day I go to the doctor and he says, Fred, I don't like what I'm seeing. You're going to need a operation. Out of the hospital, I've got these bandages around my neck. I can't really show up at my store because there's periods of bleeding. My business started to fall apart. The price you pay for smoking is so incredibly expensive.
That's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Okay. Looking forward to the ribbon cutting tomorrow, Miss Van Orno. Thank you, Ms. Jones, for the update. Like I said before, the kids look like they're having a great year. And thank you to the Spears family for the donation for the football team. They greatly need it, and it will help them a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken, for sharing those videos. I appreciate that. Thank you to Metalark and for all your hard work for the presentation. It turned out really good. Thank you. Appreciate your dedication. I also appreciate the field trip that the students went on to CSUN. My daughter had a blast. It's great to see these younger students be able to see what to look forward to. I think it's very good we start them at an early age to look at what's next, what's after school. Both my daughters will be going to CSUN, so it was a great opportunity for my daughter to see what her sisters are going to be doing. So appreciate that, and thank you all for attending. I know it's so late. I know everyone has to work tomorrow. So again, thank you for your dedication.
I'll keep my comments super short. Congratulations to boys volleyball who won tonight, undefeated 4-0 now. And I'm looking forward to the ribbon cutting. I got to get out and watch some high desert soccer the other day, a little bit of it while I was at work. That was pretty fun. And I'm excited about everything going on in our schools, and that's keeping it short. So thanks.
Well done. Ken, thank you for sharing those videos. And good work tonight, everybody. We got a lot of things done this evening. And thank you to all the staff and everyone who participated. I hadn't been to a couple meetings. We canceled the last one. I wasn't at the last one. We canceled the one before that. So it's been since December. But I never fail to be proud of being a part of this district. So thank you again. Anybody want to, let's see, calendar. Next regular board meeting is March 13th. Anybody have any issues with that date? Sounds like we'll have a quorum. Future agenda items?
I'm getting some bizarre emails about funding that's related to something that this board has per se some level of influence over when it comes to an audit finding, which seems to be historically problematic. I would like it if it's not here, I would like the Facilities and Finance Committee to bring somebody in to give a basic training about how to manage funds. I'm being as sensitive as I can here, but yeah, it sounds to me like there's a problem. I don't like those emails I'm getting. Thank you.
We will take that up in the Facilities and Finance Subcommittee and bring something forward. Thank you for that comment, Ken. Any other future agenda items? Yeah, Metalark presentation, quarterly strategic plan report, and CVRA updates.
If we could respectfully add High Desert and Vasquez to provide their highlights as we move forward with the academic calendar, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
We need to vote on that? No. All right, adjournment, 9:59 PM. Can I get a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Jillian, I.
Mays, aye.
Brianna
Mascot.
Texani, aye.
Mascot, aye. We adjourn 9:59 PM.